everyone, welcome back. It is the Danny Dot podcast. Many apologies for being away last Tuesday. I had every intention to record. I was going to be spontaneous, but guess what? I was spontaneous and I drove to Christchurch for 24 hours to meet my boss, who flew in from Auckland, and your girl got sick. So I'll come to more about that shortly, but this is the May birthday and fun podcast, obviously. I am a May baby, and I think once you sort of know that, you sort of, gain a bit of an understanding as to I am the way that I am because of that. We are in month 5 of 12, chapter 5 of 12, if you want to put it that way. It is an exciting time, and I do obviously always go all out when it comes to my birthdays. I have the majority of my life, I would say, from 16 right through to... Last year was a shitter. I would write that off the whiteboard. 36 birthday was shit. 37, we're upping the ante. But no, I am definitely celebration girly. I don't hide away. If anything, throw parties. I love getting people together. I've always been that personality that's considered the paperclip of the group. I hold everyone together, and you can guarantee, not a word of a lie, I will throw a function so that everyone gets to catch up. It is unfortunate that it is the middle of the year, and in some countries it is a little bit colder. I'm going through the motions of that right now. I feel like in the last week it's got super chilly down here. And I do this to myself every year where I book something or I plan something, and I want to be super organized and look really great for that big day. However, taking the socks off to paint the toenails and getting out of your onesie to get a spray tan is just not on the cards, you guys. Not a word of a lie. Who the hell wants to do that? But I do this to myself every year. And what makes matters worse is my mum is obviously really on board with this 75 hard challenge, and I feel like there's going to be a voucher of some sort appear in the next 7 days where she's going to have brought me a spray tan for Hawaii. And I just know it. I know it because she's asked too many questions about it lately. Like, am I going to do this myself? Am I going to, put a bit of effort in? She knows me too well in the sense of I don't put a lot of time and effort into my own appearance as I do the actual birthday party itself. So yeah, look, we are 10 days away from ending the 75 hard, and I have started putting all the puzzle pieces together. One thing that I would probably say to everyone is that if you were to do this challenge, even though it's 65 days later for myself, stuff just went out the window. So the challenge itself has actually got, 5 dot points where you have to adhere to it. I was like, that'll be easy to keep to, and it is, but anything on top of that is an effort. And I don't know, there's so much energy that's involved that you find yourself awake at absurd times of the night, and you're just resting. That's the thing. You have no energy to, watch something that you've been meaning to watch, that you've, lost time in the day because you've been exercising or whatever. I don't know. It's a weird balance that I never got right. And I'm just excited to end the challenge, say I did it, and start life with the tools that I learned along the way, which for me has been imperative for the whole journey. I've absolutely loved everything, and I've taken so much away. I was on the treadmill this morning. No, I wasn't on the treadmill. I was on the elliptical machine at the gym, yarning away to my gym buddy. And it's funny because even though I've done this for quite a while now, I've picked out the gym machines that have, more of a adverse effect on my body, where the calories start burning a lot faster, the things that really push me. I've figured it out. So crack the code, if you will. So, I am sort of in that area of the gym at the minute where I know what works, and I've been upping the ante, and I've stuck to my plan. I've stuck to my meal plan. I've incorporated some runs. I've been using the step machine in the garage. I've even pumped up the tires on my mountain bike, and I am out there on the streets of Cromwell biking around. I mean, it's absurd. It's absolutely unhinged. And I'm so proud of myself because not only has it really helped me get back into everything to do with my own mind, body, and health, but I finally feel like myself again, which I don't know, for almost a year there, I lost myself, and it was just an accumulation of things for the 2.5 years prior. But I managed to catch up with a friend last Sunday, or was it Monday, in Christchurch, and she hadn't seen me for ages, and her mouth hit the floor. She was so ecstatic, and I have been a hermit, granted. I don't put myself in social situations at the moment because I don't know if I would falter if I was around alcohol and social scenes and everything else, but I actually managed to come across attending a 40th birthday for a very dear friend of mine last Saturday. It was at the Pig and Whistle in Queenstown, and I wasn't really that hesitant on attending. I was always all in, 100% you guys. Birthday celebrations, I'll be there. First to arrive, last to leave, you can guarantee Danny will do it. This was a weird one because they were people that knew of me, but no one that really knew that I was doing the challenge. So I turned up in these tight, black, ripped jeans. I mean, I was cutting off circulation. That's how tight they were. And I was feeling fire, literally. And I had these bright red lips and this fresh haircut, which I was 60% happy about. And I had 3 people offer to buy me wine, 2 of which were blokes. 1 was a female. Oh, chastity belts on. And 2 rounds of shots where they were trying to get me to consume shots. And I just sat there. The girls behind the bar at the Pig and Whistle cottoned on to the fact that I was the sober driver of the night. So they were feeding me free of charge mocktails. And 2 mocktails later, I had fluffy teeth from the pulp and the orange juice, and I'd been done with it. I was like, I've had enough. Someone offered a Spates Zero alcohol, and the thought of alcohol hasn't even crossed my mind. Now that we're at the end, it's kind of a little bit more celebratory than it is reaching for a glass. But they were like, oh, you know, it's got 0 alcohol in it. It tastes the same as Spates. And I was like, oh, if it's one thing I do in this challenge, it's try the bloody alcohol-free version of something. So I had some. And yeah, look, if you put me in a blindfold, I actually wouldn't be able to tell you that that was the alcohol-free. I was quite impressed. So kudos to Spates. However, I wasn't about to go down the route of having a second. So what was really interesting was obviously I was there from the start, so 5:30ish. The level of volume that people that got more intoxicated that grew, I was like, holy shit, we're literally sitting here and people are shouting at each other. And I said to my mum who was there, am I like this? Like, do you just, have a couple of drinks and just the volume of your voice starts just amplifying? I don't know. And she was like, yes, that's exactly what happens. So we didn't stay for too much longer. It was about 8:30 where I decided, let's hit the road back to Cromwell. I was going to get up bright and early the next morning and drive to Christchurch for the big, exciting introduction to my boss. And I had not packed. So I'm one of those people that, like, if it's anything to do with being in New Zealand, I will underpack. If it's anything international, I overpack. And I had every intention just to spend the 24-hour time frame up there, and it was pretty chill. However, early Sunday morning, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to listen to music for 4.5, 5 hours on the drive. I might as well pop some podcasts on that have been sitting in this folder that is actually called have to be listened to by the end of January. That's what I named the folder. And guess what? I didn't touch it in January. And the weirdest thing was the first podcast that came on, I was like, oh, this is going to be a little bit heavy. It was the Who Me podcast by Davina Rankin, and she interviews the most crazy, deep diving, unhinged people I've ever heard in my life. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I was driving along and I was paying attention, but I wasn't really paying attention because I was like far out. Who she was talking to was just mind-blowing. And I actually pulled over the side of the road and wrote some notes because I was like, when I get to Christchurch, I have to deep dive on this. This is amazing. And it was the topic of human design. So I don't know. I've kind of deep dive on the whole zodiac thing quite a lot about my personality. But this was the next level of, learning about why you are the way that you are. Ideally, there's this website, you can Google it, Human Design, where you put your first name, your last name, your date of birth, your time of birth, and where you were born. And what transpired was just everything. It was like the stars aligned. I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm still learning and I don't want to give false information. However, my specific type of personality is the manifester. And I could not be more excited about this, you guys. Like, I've got goosebumps right now talking about it. Basically, the manifester is the voice. And I've always been the voice. Absolutely, 100%. I'm the one that will initiate things. I pop information in people's minds. I get people revved up. But the weird thing is that people are either on board with me or they just run in the other direction like, nope, that's too much, too fast, can't deal. Which is interesting because now that I know that there's 5 types of personalities because of the universe, and it's like a whole thing. So definitely, if you've got some time, just Google human design and see what your personality type is. 9% of the world's population of 8.1 billion, which is 720 million, I have researched this, are manifestors, which is sort of interesting because that's the people that have a voice. And I was like, it's me, it's always me. I did also pop my mum and my brother's details into it just to sort of see what kind they were. And we just sat on the couch and we were just buzzing. Like, not only was it that little bit extra than your zodiac and all the astrology kind of side of your personality, which is important, but everything kind of just clicked. And I was just like, yes, I still can't wipe the smile off my face. It's so interesting. And this chick that was talking about it on the Who Me pod is just so informative, and she just knows that this is the type of manifester and this is why they are the way that they are. And I was like, it's like, I don't know. I'm so inquisitive and curious, and there's a reason. I just am obsessed with this whole human design thing. If you are interested, please reach out because I would love to help. I have obviously sort of sat on this for about 7 days now. There is a lot to learn and I've got a lot on my plate. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because it shook me to the point of pulling the car over, and I was like, I've got to write this down. So if you are interested, I will pop a little thing in the podcast notes as to where I found out what I found out, if you want to follow that. Other than that, the other podcast I listened to was the Millionaire Manifesto, which is just interesting because I do understand that I am a real curious George about some things, and I love being informed and everything else, but some of the biggest millionaires in the world actually are information sponges, and they've tried this technique, which is you have a box, and this is way back when they first started to be like peasants, like, you know, not millionaires that they are now, where they have this box and they have all these 30 and like a little A3 cards in these boxes. And every single day you set aside 1 hour to be an information sponge and to learn something new. So we're 7 days since that happened, and I did obviously learn different things over those 7 days. Yesterday, of which I actually settled in and I watched that gut health documentary on Netflix, and I was mind blown. Like, there's some weird stuff happening in regards to gut health in the world. But I wrote it on my little information card, and I was like, you know what, I'll come back to that at the end of the month and say, I learned about gut health. I genuinely have a pretty good gut health bacteria kind of thing going on, so it wasn't really I wouldn't change anything for myself. But it spoke volumes about some people that I know, and I was just thinking, holy doolies. Anyway, at the end of the month, when you go through your 30, it's just, you know, that's 30 hours where you've learned something new and you can just grow on it. And obviously, if you learn something one day, you probably might forget it like 5 days later. So it is really interesting to keep tabs on these kinds of things. And I've always been someone that says, if you have a win, write it down so that at the end of the year, you can look back at your wins and say, oh, you know, the year may feel very empty, but this is actually what I did. So I'm all for that. And the information sponge was just very, I don't know, it caught my attention and now I'm doing it, would you believe? So I was up in Christchurch meeting my boss, which was crazy because we'd only ever spoken through a screen, and this was wild because not only was she sitting across from me in a cafe, but we were pinky promising this, that, and the other in person, which we normally do via screen. It's like our little vibe. But they put on, like, obviously a breakfast of little pies and cakes and sandwiches, and here's me with my protein shake, just like, I know yous all mean well, but no, Danny Dot has not been near fried food or cheating in any sort of sense of space whatsoever, so let's not start now. However, somebody wafted one of those new white chocolate Whittaker's mango coconut chocolate slab thingies under my nose, and I'm telling you now, it smelt like summer. My eyes must have become very dilated because I was like heightened. It was like heightened awareness of how fabulous this chocolate smelled. And I haven't tried it, but I can tell you now, that's on the list of when I finish this challenge, I'm going to try it. That's for sure. I did have a little bit of a speed wobble, but I'm not too concerned about it. I obviously have been quite interested in sugar-free energy drinks, and I've been, trying this, that, and the other. I reached for something at the supermarket and I brought it and I made a mistake, which is crazy because back in February when we were at the Electric Avenue, I did the same thing and I was like, God damn, why am I so, how come I can't ever get this right? But Red Bull has this new flavour of pear and cinnamon, and I don't know why, but I thought the stupid can was sugar-free, and it wasn't, and it made me super crook. But it tasted delicious. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I was like, this is amazing. However, yeah, it just wasn't what I thought it was, ingredients-wise. My bad. But also I was very excited to see that New Zealand has taken on the whole iced coffee in a can with oat milk. I don't know. I feel like we're just introducing these amazing inventions and I'm all for it. There's nothing better than having, dietary requirements that New Zealand's catching up on. And that for my oat milk girlies, that's exciting because it was expensive, but for the foreseeable future, I'll be making mine at home, thank you. No, it's all good. So yeah, between the Whittaker's chocolate and the Red Bull and the oat milk in the can, I had to get back to Cromwell because I was just too excited. But when we finished the 9 to 5 day, I was full of energy and I was like, I'll just drive back to Cromwell in the night. It's fine. So it was all good until the fog hit from parts of the south and there was big trucks with high beam lights on and I was going blind. I started telling myself, just 1 more hour, just 10 more kilometres. Oh my gosh, it was the longest trip of my life and I pulled in at 12:30, didn't actually fall asleep till almost 3 a.m, was at the gym at 6 a.m, and I just honestly spread myself a little bit too thin in the energy sense, so I got crook. I had a bit of a head cold from Thursday and only today am I feeling a little bit better. Nothing changed. I just obviously kept to myself and everything else, but holy moly, 24 hours out of Cromwell, I was only saying to Mum, at the end of the day, if I get on that plane to Sydney and I fall to shit, just because I've been pushing myself for so long, I'll be pretty pissed off. There's nothing worse than being in Hawaii and sneezing in your snorkel. Trust me, I know. My friend that I went last time with in 2014, 2015, God, it was probably 2013 for all I know. We had this really fabulous scuba diving adventure booked off the Molankini crater. And if you've ever been to Hawaii, Molankini is fucking stunning. It's in the shape of a crescent moon and a star. Google it, Molankini crater. It's where you just see the most craziest underwater wildlife. And we had these scuba tanks on and my poor friend sneezed. I'll never forget what I saw in the mask. So yeah, look, it's not on my radar to get sick, that's for sure. especially because I was only saying, oh, there's absolutely no way you want to be sick when you're snorkeling. I've seen that happen. Which is funny because I have had a haircut. I went in with a vision board. I had 5 people's consultation quotes and everything else. However, what happened? Did I... I'm not going to give too much away, but I really wanted like mob wife hair with bangs and like lots of just real vibrant colour. And what I walked out with was not that. Mostly because I was talked out of it. It was one of those things where your hair's in really great condition, probably from being washed absurd amounts more than it normally is. But they were just saying you should probably keep the length and not cut it short. And also you're going to Hawaii, so why would you have a fringe? Because the fringe is maintenance and you don't need that when you're on vacation. I don't know. It's annoying because not only did we discuss this previously, but to actually get to the appointment and then a fire alarm goes off and you're standing outside for 45 minutes. I sort of felt like I was rushed. So it left me leaving the appointment a little bit deflated. I'm not sad, but I'm just like, the transformation wasn't what I thought it would be, and I was talked out of things. And I'm like, why? Why was I, this is my hair. It grows back. Who cares? Let's just cut it and do crazy stuff to it. No. It was, not a vibe. Anyway, that's fine. Other than that, we have I do just want to touch on this really quickly. The people that are listening to the pod on Buzzsprout, guess what? There is now a wee message me feature, which means that, I don't know if you still go through the website to listen to the podcast, there's now a little box thingy that you can write a message to me, which is great because I love feedback. I want ideas. I want to hear what's going on. Just all the kind of things that people get on Spotify. Buzzsprout people now do as well. Spotify, I have just updated a question box this morning. So at the end of the episode, you can contribute to an option of letting me know what you think my first cheat break meal or drink should be. I want all the ideas because, quite frankly, the only thing that's on my mind at the minute is Chinese fried rice, and I don't know why. Which is probably crazy, and my PT would probably tell me how to make it healthy, but the fact that like a Chinese takeaway fried rice is sitting at the forefront of my mind just annoys the shit out of me. I don't even know why. It's not something I reach for. But that is what I have, and so I thought, let's just pop a box up there so that you guys could contribute, and I want to see what's a really great idea to do this properly. If I was videoing this podcast right now, not a word of a lie, but actually sitting behind me is 4 Easter eggs on the bookshelf, which I have not touched since Easter. Everyone says, oh, you should do a shot of Fireball out of the Easter egg. Been there, done that. Fireball's like, least of my issues. Just maybe even like a Kinder Surprise cocktail out of an Easter egg. Like, zhuzh it up, glam it up. I've done, so hard and well at this. Let's freaking pop it off. The suitcase is sitting on my spare room bed, overflowing with outfits. I have been one of those sort of travelers that has thrown things in it that have just walked away and been like, a couple of days before we go, I'm just going to try everything on and see what fits and what doesn't. There has been an unhinged amount of weight loss, and I am terrified that I've made a bad choice here because I'm either going with stuff that fits differently or it doesn't fit at all and I'm up shit creek without a paddle. But essentially I can do some shopping in Honolulu, but the currency exchange is just ripping my liver out at the moment. I'd rather not. But yeah, it's a risk I've taken, which is completely fine. I know that you guys are on board with my shopping ideas. We actually have had a hotel drama, which, the cost of 10 nights in Waikiki is the price of a small car. And I've told a lot of people this. I'm like, the flights were cheap, but the actual accommodation because of the currency is just terrifying. And just on 2 weeks before we go, we changed from booking through booking.com to booking the hotel direct because they had a really crazy sale, and we got extensively upgraded and saved a bomb. So I was very excited to see that come across the old inbox, but it makes traveling with 3 different currencies kind of difficult because my bestie, she's flying in from Australia, I'm coming from New Zealand, and the accommodation's paid for in US dollars. So I was pushing for the both of us to pay our halves at the resort, but they wanted 70% of the booking up front, which was just like, oh my gosh, really? So obviously you've got hotel dramas when you book through direct and everything else. And I don't know, that whole process is just not easy. So we could have just turned up and, who flung dung it and just hope for the best, but no, we do like to be a little bit organised, and we like thinking about the hotel in advance and being like, yes, I deserve to swim up to that pool bar and have a bloody Mai Tai in the water. That's where I'm at right now with this whole thing. And to be honest, the emails from the concierge and the reception have been really funny. Mahalo, we'll see you soon. Mahalo. That is something I won't get obviously over. It's just fun. But other than that, obviously it is the month of birthdays and fun. I have collectively got about 6 or 7 friends that are born in May. My work wife from Vodafone days, we are born a day apart, both called Danny. It was the best time at Vodafone. She actually just recently finished 113 days without alcohol and celebrated on Sunday, and I actually haven't looked back to her to see how that went. But she's also on her way to Hawaii to go on a cruise with her husband. I tell you, me and her, we're like a step behind or a step in front of each other through a lot of life choices, except she got married and I didn't. But I was there when she met her husband, so that was pretty exciting. But other than that, look, we have a lot of Tauruses in my little circle, which is quite cool. Interesting because we don't clash and we're stubborn as all shit. But yeah, a big, massive happy birthday to everyone that's going to be cruising through the parties. I am very excited not to be throwing a party this year. Last year was just an absolute disaster, one that I would write off the whiteboard of ever enjoying myself at. And it's cool because I have been one of those people for many, many years, I'd say from 16 right through to 35, who loves getting people together. First to arrive, last to leave at a function. But this is the year for me where I've just decided, flog you. I'm going to Hawaii and I'm going to go sit, poolside and just really enjoy myself on a holiday, which is cool because, I don't know, for 2 or 3 years there in Australia, every birthday I went to Bali with a group of friends. I'm very much an active traveller with all my friends. So, yeah, the last couple of years, I think it was 3 years because of COVID, having to do things in Cromwell was just, I don't know. I made light of a stupid situation, but at the end of the day, it's just not me. I would obviously take travel over having a party any day because the stress of it. But no, it's all good. I'm very, very excited. So we are in the last days of the challenge and everything is very, I'm not going to lie, I'm very tired, sick. I just want it to be over so I can start implementing this stuff into my normal everyday life and have the choice. I want to choose if I want to eat a cheat dinner. I don't want to, it's not really ever considered cheat. We've done really well in the sense of, what I've been consuming and everything else. But it's more just having like a wind down, socializing glass of wine. There's definitely been people that have piped up and said, oh, we'll have a cup of coffee and we'll catch up and everything else. And then they go, oh, no, I'll just wait till the end of the challenge where we can have a glass of wine. I'm like, oh. So, that's been happening a lot. And I do understand there's definitely people that have been very patient with me. So I'm very thankful. But at the end of it, once the challenge is over and it's up to me to sort of make those decisions, I am going to be very excited to do so. I don't know. time will tell. It wasn't so much for 75 days to hide away and get yourself sorted as it was I needed to realign what was important to me, but also get myself in a healthy, happy, safe space to travel 10 hours on a plane without having any implications. I'm very aware of the fact that I have blood clot disorders, and I don't want that to be the reason a plane turns around or I, have an altercation on the flight. It's very triggering considering I haven't flown more than 3 hours on a plane, and this is, you kind of can't keep stretching that out. You just have to get on the plane and hope for the best. So yeah, there's been a few ups and downs, and I'm just amped to get over to Honolulu and come back again. And then we actually collectively sat down as a family and decided the next destination, which weirdly enough wasn't even on a plane, it was on a cruise. But I don't know. This is just where I'm at with everything. And I probably have been a hermit for too long and saying, I'll stay in Cromwell, you guys can visit me, when in fact it is in my blood and my nature to want to explore and make memories. And, it's better if I just go traveling, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. But this is definitely the month for exploring. I am very excited to do so. I might take a hiatus off the pod just while I'm away, but I will pack the microphone. Never say never. Who knows? I could be potting from Waikiki and filling you all in on what's been happening, or I might not. Anyway, I might leave this here. And if you guys need anything, please don't forget Spotify's question box, the Buzzsprout message tab. And as always, I'm on Instagram, the Danny.podcast. And we'll see where the next pod takes us. Have a good rest of your week. Bye for now.